And so did she.
No.
All right. On behalf of the Johnson County School Board, I'd like to welcome everyone to the JCSD 1 March board meeting. The board thanks everyone here in attendance for taking time out of your busy schedule, either in person or via streaming or listening on 307. And we all have busy lives, so I appreciate you taking the time to be here. We have a full house tonight, so again, you all know about the cell phones. Again, if we need to have conversations with each other, I'd ask you to step outside so people can hear. And so at this time, will you all please stand? Join with me in singing the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I got spelled the last 2 months of having somebody sing it. I'd like to say right up front, Candace and Gio Monticelli knocked it out of the ballpark during the state basketball. They were absolutely awesome singing the national anthem. And that's not easy to do, to get in front of all the people and sing. So we appreciate that. Roll call. We have everyone here in person. That's great. Public comment at this time. Again, as you know, this is our time to listen. We do not comment during your public comment time. We ask you to keep your comments to roughly 5 minutes, please. And the first one we have is Warren.
Like a timer?
We'll go like this, or when you're
I won't be that long.
Okay.
All right. Wednesday night, the board work session was brought up elementary schools and families promoting the LGBT. Our schools have rainbows, right? So tonight, talk to you about rainbows. Rainbows can be seen in elementary schools across America. They are bright, they are colorful, they help children learn colors, and we got classroom colors. Questioning rainbows in school is like questioning what has to do with it. Not everyone is aware of what has to do with it, but everyone should feel secure in what has to be. People running rodeos have bigger things to worry about besides the attire of participants or things. Just like people teachers have a lot bigger concerns than just finding rainbows in our elementary programs. It's really about rainbows, though. It's a Demi Belt attack against the LGBTQ population, and that's rather concerning. The Trevor Project reports last couple of statistics that the LGBTQ youth 4 times more likely to commit suicide. This group has reported 45% of them last year seriously contemplated suicide. This population is not prone to suicide because of their sexual orientation, rather because how they are mistreated and stigmatized by society. Case in point, a board member going after a non-existent thing. What message does that send to our youth who are gay and who are questioning? What message does that send to our staff who are in that same boat? What message does that send to our district employees about the priorities of our district? Thank you.
Ms. Gasson, and you are here on behalf of
The senior rodeo.
Okay, thank you.
I've never been nervous.
I'm ready. There's no reason to be nervous. We're here to listen to you.
Karina says, Dear Johnson County School Board, I'm Karina Meinke.
When you hear this, I'll be on my way to Torrington to state FFA that time. Thanks for reading this morning. I'm writing in support of the 4 seniors who high school rodeo and want their banners hung at Buffalo. I'm one of them. While I've rodeoed since before I was in kindergarten, this is my first semester high school rodeo. I'm excited to represent Buffalo High School in the go time. You heard that right. I'm excited to represent Buffalo High School. According to Mr. Mater, the reason rodeo kids can't have a banner is that they're not affiliated with the Wyoming High School Athletic Association. Honestly, we could care less whether or not the Wyoming High School Rodeo Association is a part of the Wyoming High School Athletic Association. We don't represent either one. We represent Buffalo High School. Will we wear a black and gold uniform with a big bison on it? No, but we know that any action and decision we make, good or bad, will be seen as the action or decision of Buffalo High School students. Interestingly, I've checked and I cannot find anywhere that says Special Olympics is a member of the Wyoming High School Athletic Association. However, they have a banner in the high school, as they should, but why can't we? From the time we're little, we're taught segregation is a bad thing, but technically, isn't that what's happening here? Like any other sport, rodeo requires practice, skill, determination, and teamwork. The difference in my case as a goat tire is my teammate is a 1,000-pound mare named Reed. You don't know the level of faith placed in a teammate until you literally step off that teammate as she's running at an out-of-control speed towards the leading, jumping, running goat. And then having the faith she'll take care of herself while I flank and tie that now kicking and squirming goat. Keep in mind this all happens from when I ride into the arena until I throw my hands in the air in roughly 8 seconds. Unlike a lot of sports, rodeo kids don't have a set practice time where we all get together. It's our own responsibility to get it done and know that if we don't practice, we're not prepared. I can't expect my teammate to do her job if I can't do mine. Sometimes that means we exercise horses in the dark and our teammates need always come before our own. Instead of coaches, we have mentors. Those people we seek out are oftentimes they find us to tell us what we're doing right and how to fix what we're doing wrong. My goat time mentor is in Buffalo, South Dakota. She's a 2-time college national crown goat time champion for the University of Wyoming. I have several that live here as well. Dr. Rice, Megan Wells, Mandy Mater, Josh Johnson, and Johnson County School Board member Dave Bellis, just to name a few. So back to the banners. Hanging a banner in the high school doesn't seem like it should be a big deal. It's our school too. We're all involved in other VHS activities. We're not asking for a handout. We don't need any money. We don't need a bus. We don't need a gym space. We're not asking for anything other than to be recognized as athletes who represent Buffalo. Sincerely, Karina Mason.
Thank you. Any more to give anybody on the public comment? No. Okay, we are at the library process. Leanne Schimmel. Leanne, we appreciate you being here tonight.
She's excited to be here. So I'd like to direct your attention over here. Okay, so, gosh, I know what I did. I need to got out of your thing. Sorry. Okay, mine's still up. There we go. Okay, so I am Leanne Schimmel, for those of you who don't know, and I am the librarian, the certified librarian for the district. And so I travel around to all the schools. I try to hit one building probably once a week. I travel to Casey one day a week, try to get there on Thursdays. Sometimes that doesn't work. We have the book fair out there this week. So if you are in Casey and you're listening, get to the book fair this week. We start on Thursday night. I am in charge of all the libraries, purchasing, maintaining our library systems, and I'm going to kind of show you what we have going on and what we have available to students through the libraries tonight. Okay, so I'm going to kind of go through Cloud Peak, and I'm doing that because I'm going to use my daughter Adeline's login, and she's a 3rd grader, and so Krista kind of recommended me. She was like, you probably shouldn't have Adeline's login, but I do. And so I'm going to use her so you can see what it's going to look like from a student's perspective and not an adult's perspective, because my login is going to show you a whole different ballgame of books and stuff. And so I'm going to show you from her perspective and how to get there. Okay, so I'm going to kind of treat you like parents when you guys are coming in and logging in. And so kids can do this from home. So if they're at home, they can look up the school district website and then go to their school, and they'll just click on student resources. As soon as they click on student resources, it's going to stop them. And they will have to log in using their school district login. All of them should know it by now. They all should know what their school district login is and their password. And so as soon as they log in, then it'll show the student resources page, and then they can click on library. This is my page. And once they're here, it's going to take you to 2 of my 3 points that I'm going to show you tonight. The first one being is Destiny Discover. And I'm just going to click. Once you click on that, it'll open this up. I've already logged her in, so we don't have to wait. But when they log in up here, they'll just type in their same school district login. It never changes. That's what they'll use all the time. Okay? And this is Cloud Peak's interface that we use, that I'm in charge of. So these are books that I've purchased. This is my library system, I guess our library system, the district. And these are books that I've put into our system that they can check out, okay? These are actual books that are sitting on a shelf. So they can go in and look and see if books are available that are on the shelf. But they can also, once they're logged in, they can scroll down and they can see ebooks. Now, ebooks are books that they can read on their device. This is also an app. And I gave everybody a nifty little pamphlet. But this is also an app that you can download on your phone, on a tablet, and it will link up, and it's a lot like Sora, which I'm going to show you too. But they can actually open those ebooks on their tablets the same. And these are books that we have purchased through the district, okay? And so once they click see all, they will click it right here, and they can open it. Now, this will redirect them to a company that we bought books through. We did a grant last year. It's through Mackin, the company, and I received a bunch of money through them. And so then it links them automatically through this company. They can just open the book and read it. And so they can do this on tablets, like I said, their Chromebooks, anything. It's available to them. And they can just go and it reads it through it. There you go. Okay, so that's our system. And we also have audiobooks, the same thing. So it would take them and we can open it. And that one right up there, when they clicked on it, it said that it was checked out. So someone already has that checked out, which is nice. Okay, so this is our Destiny system. We go over this with them. I work with Julie Snyder in the technology department every year. 3rd through 5th grade gets this every year. We go through it in depth. They know how to get Destiny. They love it. They go in. They're very excited when they get to see it. I like this because this is my control. This is everything that I get to do. And I input all these books. Again, we don't have the opportunity to possibly read every single book that we're putting into this library system, but we do try to vet most of them. And so that's where this is going. And so this is our OPAC system that we use. Do you guys have any questions about our library system? Yeah, it is pretty neat. I really like our Destiny system. It's pretty, and we have a lot available for them. And so this is Destiny. They make lists. This is kind of this is a nice system for them to use. They can research different things and make lists of books they want to check out. They hold books. It's pretty cool. Okay, no questions? Yes.
Do all the children know how to use this system?
Well, and so.
Have you taught my children how to
Well, if it's 1 through 3rd through 5th grade, yes. And we've started to do it more. You know, like middle school and high school, they're just so busy. And it's hard to get into those classrooms. And so at freshman year, I hit every freshman, like, so I don't hit them, but I try to, I don't do that, I'm not, but I try to, Brent Gross and I work together in the fall, and so I go to all of his classes, and so every freshman goes through Go Wild and Destiny briefly, 3rd through 5th grade again, but I think they forget. But that's a fun age. Like this is that age where they're like, it's really fun. And then they get to middle school and it's more, and they still love it, but they're more assigned. And then high school, it's more assigned. You know, like they have to read certain things by that time. It's not as much choice reading. And so I think that it just starts to be more of these teachers have these sets and they get to read them. I'll show you some other things too, though, that we've started to integrate into the classrooms. But yes, if they're third through fifth, yes, and for Meadowlark, there's a lot of picture books out there too. And so, and we can get more. And so that's, if we go through Mackin, you can just add more and more to that system. And it links up with ClassLink, which is their username and password, which is nice. It just shoots it over. As soon as they log in, it takes them and opens that book. You saw it. Adeline, you can just log in that one. And it whoop, takes her over. And so that's kind of nice. It's easy once they learn their username and password.
Are these on their like age level or so do we have a lot of high school books on this or just elementary?
Yes, we do have a lot of high school books too. A lot of, well, I mean, I guess not a lot. So the cost of ebooks and audiobooks is a lot. Like they're high.
Yep.
And a lot of times you rent them. Like I guess not rent them. It's almost like a lease. So it's kind of like a 2-year subscription for this really popular title, which sometimes is better because then it's not popular. And so instead of having to remove this really popular title, you can have that book for a 2-year term and then it goes away. And you can then get something else. But they are pricey. I mean, for a 2-year term, sometimes it's $60. Whereas a book for one book is $20. And I understand, but then it's available really easily for them to access. And it's instantaneous, which is our culture.
Man, I think maybe she might have been asking, and maybe not, maybe I'm assuming, would a third, fourth, or fifth grade student have access to high school level books or middle school level books? Is that?
What you were? Oh, so no, and so that is, yes, it's level. And so I have control over this. So we'll kind of go back to that policy question that we had the last time about the funds. And so Craig's budget and my budget goes specifically to this system. Whereas Gibbs' budget and my budget goes specifically to the high school system. Craig's students can't access Gibbs' system.
That's what I wanted.
And Craig's students can't access Lori's system. We can trade books. So if we need a book from Casey about the Spinosaurus and we don't have one at Meadowlark or we don't have one at the high school or Cloud Peak, we can check them out that way. But as far as digital content goes, no. They cannot access any upper level books that are inappropriate. Yes.
What if their reading level is upper high school, college reading level, and then middle school?
To find books that are age appropriate for middle school that are upper college, that's going to be tough anyway. And I think that's probably going to be on the teacher that they're working with to make sure and vet that specifically. I would be really careful because then you're entering into this adult content. So you have to make sure that, I mean, they'll have to work with teachers. And I have books that would be harder, but we'll work with anything. I mean, if we need to buy something that is available and we can rent something, and I'll show you how we can do that through Sora, and we can get recommendations from anybody. You can ask anybody. I'm really quick to help and want to like get the book out to them. And so if we could rent it through Sora and like push it out immediately, we'll probably try to do that because then at least they have something. But a lot of times the teachers know, they know if those kids are that high and they know the books that are appropriate. And so I would trust more so the teachers that they have to find that age appropriate content. That's tricky. It is tricky though, because then you're entering into adult and something, not. You don't want a six-figure. Yeah. Any other questions about this Destiny system? How am I doing on time?
You're doing great.
Okay.
You're great.
Okay. So, any other questions on Destiny?
So just to call it, any way that you can get kids to read is awesome. If they don't like a book and they can go just read it, that's great. So thanks for thinking outside the box.
Yeah. Well, and it's a good system. Like this is, I really like our Destiny system. One problem we've actually had is with Casey, we're still trying to work because they don't have a system that separates it. And so right now I can't push. I called and complained and asked if we could set, I mean, they're going to make us buy 3 different licenses because I can't push this because they would have access to high school level books. Because you buy 1 license per school. And so I'm still working on that. And it was very disappointing. I called them and told them that was unrealistic for small schools, and we had big competitions about that. And so currently we're kind of talking about that. And but there are other options. And so we're going to target one group of kids that are as high readers out there, maybe like 4th through 7th grade that we know would have, that's a good age group of books that are decent, that high school kids can still read and enjoy, that 4th graders could read 7th, and really vet those books. But it's tricky. That part's annoying, and they're expensive licenses. They're not cheap.
So look at the license you get for, say, Cloud Peak. How come it can't just transfer to the same age group in case it's all one?
That's just not how the company works.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean,
Make too much sense.
they want money. That's their goal, and they do a good job. And to have that, to have the crossover of students, I think is a little tricky because that school is a whole different community. Versus, does that make sense? Like, so they are K through 12, and Craig's building is only 13, right? And so that's it. I think that's how they're kind of making it work. I don't know, and that's a lot. They don't do it. So, but that's Destiny. But we're currently trying to work that out. We'll figure something out. I'll figure it out somewhere. Okay. Any other questions on this? Okay, let's move on. All right. So we'll go back to this library page, and this goes to Go Wild. So you'll see that right here, they can click on Go Wild. I have these quick links, and they can use those when they're in school. But if they're at home, they can't use those quick links because they have to go through Go Wild. And so I'll take you through Go Wild right now. When they're home, they'll have to use a library card and a PIN that's given out through the state. And I put that in that little brochure. And there's a QR code that you can scan, and that's a video of me telling everybody how to get on to Go Wild. And so parents can watch that, and it tells them how to navigate through our website and get on to Go Wild. And it's just me. You don't have to look at me. It's just my computer screen, and it goes through. Okay, so once they're here, this is just a website. It's not the actual database. So this is just Go Wild, and it's housing all the databases through the state. We have access to this for free. These databases are super expensive now. Like, subscriptions to these are really expensive, and we get them for free, which is lovely. And so I always promote K through 8, especially for our 3rd through 5th population. And right here, you're going to see it's going to bring you to some good choices. I really found that for Bookflix is a fun, it's not so much research-based, it's going to be maybe a little loud.
Click on a
Okay, I
catalog
kind of turned it.
or click on the feature to begin.
And so this one's really good because it's very interactive. And so kids can do this on their own. They can click on it. It's going to give them a book, a fiction book, where they can watch the story. And then after they're done watching the story, it reads it to them. Then they can click on the nonfiction scholastic, and it's going to talk about snow, and they have to read that part. So this will read it to them. They get to watch it, but then it'll go back And they can go back and then to read the book. And it's the scholastic nonfiction portion where they read through Snowy Weather Days. And it highlights different words. It'll help them read it. It can slow it down for them.
It's snowing. When you step outside, huge white snowflakes are falling everywhere.
And so,
Look around.
again, this is just
Click on a
another
category.
resource for them
Or
to
click on
have
the feature to begin.
that's safe. They can go into this at home. What a good way to promote them to be if they have to do something that they want to be on a tablet or doing something interactive. This is a great way that they're still reading. It's a story that they get to watch, and then they get to go and do this. It also links up with different games that they can play. So once it's on the snowy day, they can go to word match. They can go to which comes first. All of these are vetted and safe links that go to different games that also pertain to the story. So it's going to talk about the comprehension, and it's going to go back and have them remember about something about that snowy day story. And so after they read those two, that's going to connect it. So there is this that helps them. Yes, April.
So I see some second grade parents up there. Your second graders have access through our metal art.
Yep.
website.
And we came in, so I've
Yeah.
done this, and you asked if I came in and did this, and so I've been researching it with all the second grade. So we went in and did research with all of them, and they did dinosaurs, different animals and stuff, and so that's what they've done on here. So this is just one of these databases. I mean, there's a ton, but one that I've started to really like is this Explora. Now this is more research, and so this is for little kids too, okay? And so it doesn't look as fun and exciting as one of our other ones, but if I type in Doug, just gonna type in Doug, then this gives us access to an entire ebook. And this is a new database that they've kind of updated on here. EBSCO kind of updated it. And it's going to take you to this entire ebook as what a great resource for these kids to be able to use. Pictures. It has this huge table of content so that if you're actually looking up toy dogs, it'll take you right to it and then break it down. So these little kids can just click on it and it's going to take them. We're setting them up for success with research instead of frustration and failure, which research is frustrating. If you keep clicking on something and you can't find it, or you get a sentence and it's not the full article, that is miserable. And that's when they switch off and they go to Google because they think it's easier, but it's not. It's not easier. We have to start to get them doing this instead of Google. And I realize I'm guilty. Who else just clicks Google? I click Google like 5 seconds. I mean, I click it many times a day. Oh, no, I just did it with Jen just a minute ago, who was the author of Mrs. Frisbee and the Rest of Them. And we did that again. But this for them, we're setting them up for success. We're teaching them how. I recommend all the teachers, look on these sites before you give your list of research topics. Give them a list that you know is available, because then we're setting them up for success. But you know that the information's there. We're not going to have to be like, and so then we know that they're going to find some good information. And so then they can use all of this. And then we start to, as they get older, we'll start to go into citations, where then they have to cite their work. We talked about that with a teacher at Meadowlark, like, where can we start with these citations? And they're like, let's just get them over there. Just tell them they can't steal. Like, let's just start with that. And so just as long as we start to introduce that and then keep it rolling throughout the years, like, let's just start. And usually it'll cite it for you right up here. You click on it and it's done. You click out which citation you want, and all you have to do is copy and paste it. It's done. No more doing it on your own, right? I know. I know. We used to have to write it all out ourselves too, especially since they change it every 2 years. That's nice. You know, that's good. So that's Explora, and I really have started to like it. It's not as much fun as you'll see. Britannica's school is pretty, it's fun. This one looks fun. It looks like a little kid, elementary. They get to see something. If I type in dog, this is very tricky. That's not the search box. I don't know why they do that. That's very tricky. Search box is big, and it's tiny. There's dog. And right here, this one is very good for a little kid because they get to see, oh, where do they live? What do they eat? And we talk about headings, and it will read it to
The
them.
dog is one of the most popular animals in the world.
Really great voice.
It was one of the first
Really high
animals
quality
to be
voice that
listed
reads it out
or
to them. I
trained
know.
to use by
Yeah,
humans.
I know. Okay, where do they live? And it goes down. If they need more information, as soon as we click on that level 2, it goes into a different middle school level. Then we click on level 3, and it goes even higher. And so then it's like all the more information. You're seeing my scroll bar over here, and we are massive. It still will read it to them and give them that information. It still will cite it for them. We talk about scrolling over those icons. They look different. That other one was a quotation mark. This one's a check mark. So we go. So this is Go Wild. Do you guys have any questions about this? You guys have access to this too. All of you do. And so
And this is like Go Wild, is you're promoting this at the high school level or just?
they've all had it freshman year. Everything. And I tell them that they can.
Refresher.
I know, and I tell them that they can email me anytime, and some of them do. Some of them email me, and if they do email me, even because usually I can find something pretty quick, and if they email me and they are like, "Mrs. Shaw, I can't find it," I'll shoot them the article. I'll just go, and I'll find it, and then I'll be like, "Here's the article," and then they can click on it and they can gather. I'm not doing it for it. I mean, I don't think that's bad for me to help them find an article. Then they can look it up and write down all the information. That's great. Does anybody else? Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, Sora. This is kind of the big one. Okay, Sora. Okay. Okay, Sora is, now this is the one. Does anybody have Libby through the public library? Okay, so Sora is the student version of Libby. Libby is the online or the digital reading app through the public library. And so you can download this reading app. It's called Libby. The company that runs it is called Overdrive. That's through the state. And you just download this little reading app through Libby. You have to call the library. They give you a library card number and your PIN. You log in. You have access to tens of thousands of books, ebooks and audiobooks. Okay, on your phone, on your tablet, you have a ton, right? Sora is the student version of Libby. It's free. You do not have to have a library card. They use the class link, same thing. Like, so the students' username and password to the school district. And so all they have to do, so I've already logged Adeline in again. And this is her interface that she uses. So this is mine. So this is Johnson County School District, okay? We can connect through the Virtual Library of Wyoming. So why I'm talking about this is because once we connect our school through the Virtual Library of Wyoming, I do not have control over the Virtual Library of Wyoming. Thank goodness. I don't want control over the Virtual Library of Wyoming, but I don't have control over that. And so we have to make sure that parents know that it is up to them to monitor what their children are reading. They need to be aware if they're going to log into Sora that they need to watch and make sure. That being said, Sora has an Overdrive company has very strict parameters still set, like Jim's talking about, with that age parameters. And so they go K through 5, which I'll be honest with you is a very odd grouping. So we are not promoting it from the K through 2 level. because I think it's very odd to give kindergartners access to audiobooks at the fifth grade level. I don't think they should be listening to Harry Potter. So we're not giving that access to K through 2, but for 3rd through 5th grade, that's a good, K through 5 is perfect. And with Sora, even if you are, then the next chunk is 6 through 8, even if you're 6 through 8, you can still access all the books that are lower, which is wonderful because my system you can't. It's Meadowlark money and not Cloud Peak money. And so with this, you can access the lower books. And so it's K through 5, 6 through 8, and then 9 through 12, which is young adult. And I had them remove access for young adult. They had a book on there that was available that I wouldn't have purchased. And so I had them take it off. And so that was my call. If parents want to have them get on to Libby, that's their call. And so that's where I come into play. I will take the heat for that. I didn't want access to it, and that's fine by me. That's where I can. I wasn't sure if I could have that call, but they said we could just remove that YA classification, and that's fine. So it just goes through that 6 through 8, but high school students still have access to everything under 6th grade. So they log in and they have access to whatever I buy. And so there I've stepped in and started purchasing more for that high school group, so that they have more books that I would purchase, instead. So then they can have a little bit extra there. So that's kind of Sora. So I'll show you so this is all mine. And once they log in, then they can have, those are ebooks, but then if they have a headset, then it's audio. And so they go up here and you can add, this is the virtual library of Wyoming. And if you scroll down, this is how many books it adds. And at parent-teacher conferences this last week at Cloud Peak, we had parents come into the library, sign the commission slip. And after I explained it to them, every single parent signed. They had no problem with it. Once they saw it and saw what was offered, they were actually, a lot of them were really excited at the option to have this available for their kids. And so it's a good thing. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. Again, it's just something that they can have. It is really cool. And so then they can click on any of this, and you'll see that there's lots of place hold because it is popular. And so just like Libby, and so those of you who don't have Libby, I would recommend going to Libby because it is worth it. And so once you do that, you'll just place the hold on it, and in a couple of weeks it'll come to you. But otherwise, if you didn't, you would just take this and you click on it, and if you borrow it, so I'll borrow it under Adeline's name, and this is just the ebook, and it opens up. Okay.
How long can you keep the book?
Open up. 2 weeks, and then it disappears.
Oh,
No
wow.
overdue fees.
Goes away?
You can renew it if you catch it in time, if you're on top of it, which most people are. And so then it just keeps going, and they get read it. And it's pretty cool. A lot of times if they have the double, so that's what I tell parents too, if they have the double, like so they'll have this ebook, but then they'll have the audiobook too, that's great. So then I told parents, check that ebook out and check the audiobook out. So then they can read it and listen if they're struggling with anything, or if it's a harder book that they want to read, but they maybe couldn't do normally. But have them not just listen to it, check out the ebook also. Don't just listen, have them do it. So then they can follow. But yeah, it's great, free. I mean, unless I buy them, which I can. I can put money on my budget in here and then buy different books according to each. Like, okay. We can also go in with other school districts if you want to. I don't know enough about it yet. I haven't really had a chance to look that, but we can start consulting with. But then you have all their stuff. I haven't. I'm a kind of a controlling person. I don't know if you knew that. So I don't know if I do well with it. Having someone else be able to buy books too. I don't know. So, but okay, but I think that's all that I have for you. Any questions? Yes, sorry.
So, did you say that you can have a book removed from this list?
No. Nope.
So,
I have no control over the Wyoming Virtual Library. And so, like I told parents that night, if they, I mean, they could have added 10 books in the last 5 minutes. But the percentage of books that are questionable versus the percentage of books that aren't is small to none. And that's the parents' job. They can monitor what to monitor what their kids are reading. No. Well, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit on that. If they're signing a permission slip for this Sora, which is, and that's why we have them sign, is because we're covered by having them sign this permission slip. And they know this. And like I said before, I didn't have one parent not sign. Not one.
I'm not saying
Third-
after the
Thursday.
permission slip is signed, I'm saying in general, you are the librarian, you are in charge of what.
Not when they're at home on a digital device or not. And especially when I tell them that it's a virtual library of Wyoming and they sign that knowing that I don't have control over it, that is not I don't have control over it. With this,
With having a library that is controlled by the giant.
And you don't find a way.
and the parents have that choice. We're not making all kids do this.
No, I'm not saying, I'm just, you're on one side saying you are all.
Well, I don't know. I'm saying I don't want to link up I'll explain that for me. I'm saying I don't want to link up with another school because then our Johnson County group, just the books that I've purchased would also be the books that they have purchased. And then I wouldn't have control over our collection of Johnson County. I have control over the Johnson County selection, which is this. But if we link up with a consortium over in Gillette or Sheridan, then it would be us all together. And then I wouldn't have the control over this section. But when we link up with the Virtual Library of Wyoming, that's on the parents to monitor at home. And something else why Sora is such a big deal right now too, is because Overdrive offers books that we can rent for classes. And so if a teacher is doing a class set of, oh my gosh.
I survived.
Trapped or I survived, then I, instead of purchasing 10 of those books in paperback, I can rent them for 3 months and push them out to every kid's email and it'll show up on their shelf for 3 months. And it's 99 cents or $2 versus $5 a book. And then we have to house those books somewhere. And so teachers have been using that a lot in their classroom because then it just shows up on their shelf. We have to kind of get away from this where it's going to be our job to monitor these kids at home when they're reading. Because I can't do that. There's 1,500 kids in this school. I can't follow them home. I also can't be in every building. And we can't watch every single book that they're going to be checking out. We also can't read every single book that we put on the shelf. We don't have that time. Our parents are doing multiple different jobs. I am working in 5 different schools. The reality of this is there's not time.
At the same time, we're ensuring parents that there is not going to be, and I think we've even had conversations in the past, that we have control over what comes and goes in our libraries. We have, somebody that, and that's you, somebody that makes sure that we don't have inappropriate material that's going to be seen by our kids. That's our job. I understand that it's parents that they need to be looking at what they're reading, what their kids are reading. But if we have teachers that are assigned books or assigned reading that the parents are not aware of, that's our job. And that's stuff that we need to be doing. And so I get what you're saying. But we've used the excuse of, don't worry about it, we've got cover. We've got people policing this. And now you're saying the opposite.
I never said the opposite.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't
so
get it.
often a big thing right now is parental control and parental decisions. And so asking parents to be involved and be the parents and make those decisions doesn't seem inappropriate. I mean, Leanne is Leanne and she's amazing, but she's not God. I mean, she can't be everywhere monitoring everything.
Don't take it as criticism as to what's as the job that you're doing. I don't think you're doing a bad job. I haven't heard anything to the contrary. What I'm saying is that I think that we as a board and we as a school district, that is our job. It's to maintain control over what is assigned our kids, what our kids are supposed to be reading and so on. What our parents are responsible for, what I'm responsible for as a parent, is what my kid does outside of the school. And so, that's the kind of balance that I see is if we're using this as, well, that's the parents' responsibility. My concern is what the school's responsibility is.
Officer Brennan, you understand that there's two libraries we're talking about? The one she controls and has handled in a public library. There's two libraries she's discussing. The public library, she's not in charge of.
Then we shouldn't be involved.
Fair enough, and don't sign the form, but she's controlling the one.
Well,
two libraries.
Okay, wait, let's kind of, let's.
So is there any way a student through our computers can actually access that one virtual library without parental consent? I mean, you were talking about that a little bit, about they have to sign on before they can get in there.
Yeah, they do.
They can't get in there without that consent.
Right, and we have them sign before they have access. And so if teachers want them to get in, then we're gonna have them sign. We're gonna try and have them sign all the time before they come. And that's why we had all of them sign at parent-teacher conferences. I mean, I think we're close to almost all of Cloud Peak has signed. And so then, because they've signed that release, they have said that it's okay for them to have access to that public library app. I mean, they have given their permission. I mean, that's their choice.
So what we're doing is, you're correct, there's two different libraries. Through the system, what we're doing here is giving kids access to our system, which we are monitoring, making sure parents are aware of it. The stuff that we do control, there's systems and processes in place. So if the teacher does pick a book and there's a concern, a parent can bring that. There's a process or procedure if we identify a book with something that needs to be addressed. So it's not that we're not supervising, because we are. If there's a parent that has a concern, they can talk to the teacher as an administrator, or we can bring it through a process of, hey, with this book, which we've done that process before. We've actually kind of updated that policy of what that looks like. So we are monitoring and supervising what that looks like. However, I will agree with Leanne. There's no way. There's books that have been in public libraries, but in school libraries around the nation, some have been there for 30 or 40 years. So as we go through this process and something comes up, we are always open to having that discussion with the parents that wants to talk about what that is. But there is protocol that we kind of follow. I will say that what we do here is age appropriate. Leanne looks over all the books. She goes, nah, I don't think this one's quite where it needs to be. She's probably a lot more, I'll just be honest, she has a higher level of expectation, which I appreciate with what most districts do. So she is very concerned about what level or appropriateness it is, but if there's a question a parent has, there is a process, so you can monitor that.
We also have to be very realistic with the cost of materials at this point too. And for this to be available to students at a free cost, and if parents are allowing it, and they're saying yes, and we are giving it that option, we're not just allowing it. Other districts are just allowing it. I'm having them sign. They're just giving us this access to Sora and to the Wyoming Virtual Library. We're having them sign as our school district. This is not a requirement to have them sign. We're doing that as a school district because we think that it's best. It's
So
best practice.
if they choose not to sign it,
Then they don't have access. Right, and if they choose to though, it's a good thing. I mean, then they have this access that's free and at home, which a lot of these kids don't have this type of thing at home. And if they know and learn how to do it, and they don't have any books, anything like that at home, but their parents did buy them a tablet, then they're able to access reading material.
Is it, you said here, it's level content, right?
Yes.
So
I said it's K-5, 6 through 8, and we took away YA.
So a fifth grader can't get on to see what a 9 through 12.
Nope.
Okay.
They cannot.
Yes.
So, Leanne, you have a parent group that vets some of these books out for you, especially at the high school level. I thought there were some parents. I thought there were some parents.
They could. I haven't been approached by any parents to ask me if they wanted to do that. They could. So I have my parents try and read them. If anybody else wants to read them, I have a teacher. But yeah, I have never been asked by a parent.
Yeah. Leanne, we appreciate you coming, and we thank you. And if we have more questions, we'll be in contact.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you again. That was a good presentation. Good presentation.
You're fine. I'll sit right there.
Okay, moving on. Did follow the protocol in order to put on the agenda, and I appreciate that. So,
Okay,
you're on.
so I thank you guys very much for putting me on the agenda for this. I just want to remind you guys that the Wyoming High School Rodeo Association students, they're held to super high academic standards. They have to maintain a code of conduct that will disqualify contestants from the use of alcohol, tobacco, vandalism, fighting, and abuse of livestock. The students must acquire a total of 4 transcripts. They don't have to get the transcripts, or they don't bother our activities director. They have to initiate it. They have to step forward and get these 4 transcripts. One of them in the fall, one of them in spring, which the kids should be asking for them shortly. Once before state finals, which is the first week or so in June, and then if they're a national qualifier. So they have to do this 4 times. Just like any other Wyoming high school activity, the rodeo kids are committed to their events. They work towards their goal year round. It's not something that they just stop with. Many of them do not have a formal coach, like Karita's letter had mentioned. It is also a mentor from the Johnson County, mentors from state, mentors that are high school, national qualifiers, people who go to the NFR, that they mentor with all of these people. They work and practice in all different weather conditions, whether it's in indoor arenas, outdoor arenas, it's all the time. And as reported by the National High School Rodeo Association, high school rodeo is one of the fastest growing youth organizations with an annual membership of 12,500 students. The kids can also earn intercollegiate scholarships. Their college is completely paid for. Plus many of them spend their lifetime, I'm talking lifetime. Not all of our Wyoming High School Activities Association kids are lifetime playing these sports are listed, or the banners that are hung right now. Plus many of them involve their families. Once they have their own families, they involve their littles. When I say littles, I'm talking like 2 and 3-year-old kids, all the way through grandpa and grandma. Are still doing these activities. Their commitment to the sport doesn't end with the season. It's year-long and also becomes lifelong. I was made aware this morning, this afternoon, that there was a survey that was sent out by the student, what do they call it, the student council. So I don't know anything more about it, just that it was finally sent out. And I had visited with everyone prior to the last board meeting, whether it was Mr. Oski, Mr. Mater, Mr. Alzheimer, and then 2 other board members. So I was kind of set back this morning, or this afternoon, I should say, when the survey was sent out. So I don't know the results of it. I was wondering if Mr. Oski or student council could.
So we just sent out, so there's no results or deadlines that I'm aware of, so I have not seen any results.
Okay. When I read through the survey, I don't feel that it was written by any students. And I would hope that they did have help with it. But I'm really wondering where do we go from now?
What kind of questions can I ask you on the survey?
Do you have those, Mr. Oski? I mean, do you have access to them? I can just share with you what was forwarded.
So when is rodeo season?
It begins the end of August through October. The end of September, actually. The Range Cow Horse ran from the middle of August all the way through December. Cutting runs from August through March. Right, and then it starts up again, in April through the end of May.
And do we hold events here?
We hold one event here, and that is on May 27th, May 28th. It's Memorial Weekend.
Do they practice here?
The kids practice on their own. There isn't a set practice.
Okay.
Have you ever practiced on limestone?
Do you know where the banners are displayed for other sports?
Do I know where banners are displayed for other sports? According to the survey, they are displayed, whether it's at the YMCA, at the gym, the track, the football.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is,
I think they're
so,
Can let's just do one thing, let's make sure.
yeah, so football at football stadium, track at the track or indoor track, basketball, same thing. My question would just be, I don't have a problem with any extracurricular group having banners, if they so choose to have banners. And they can fly their banners at their activities. I don't think that we need to start. One, I don't think this is a board decision. I don't think that unless you're going to make a policy on it, and then I don't want to get down that road. But if we're going to do this, we're opening the door for any group that wants to do it. And I'm not discrediting the amount of work and the hard work and the practice and everything that goes into being a rodeo athlete. If they want to do it, they can do it. And they can display their banners on the field, wherever they play, just like any other team. I don't see where there's a disconnect there.
What I'm looking at is I'm looking at all students. There are students that walk into the school and by gosh, they hate school so bad. They don't want to be there. But why are they there? Why are a lot of kids at school? Oh, it's not for mathematician science. Come on. So what I'm trying to do with not only it started with the rodeo banners, but it's to get all these kids involved. It's to get them to look and go, hey, if that person can do rodeo, or if this person can do hockey, or if this person can figure skate, that's pretty cool shit. Maybe I could get involved in that. Okay? I'm trying to get the kids involved. I'm here for the kids. I'm a 22-year educator. So this isn't my first time, caring about the kids. I want all kids to be recognized. I have a further vision, but I just wanted to start with the rodeo. We have to ease into things.
I just have a quick question. Was it, I feel you, I think every kid should be celebrated for sure, but was it ever just addressed at the school level, whether it was your rodeo athlete, whether it was another rodeo athlete, whether it was you as a parent, did you just go to Ryan or go to Gibb and ask if you could put the banners up before anybody ever came to this level?
I went to Mr. Ostermer, and then I went to Mr. Miller. I telephoned Mr. Austin. I talked to Mr. Bellis. And it was right. So this wasn't something that I just came to the board. This is something that was brought to my attention last fall. Maddie was told to go get her picture taken with the banner. Great, perfect. That's pretty cool because you're gonna get the banners hung up. When the kids are recognized. And life got busy. And I asked him about it. Christmas rolled around and said, "Where can you get your banner?" And he said, "Oh, so I didn't follow through because I got busy as well. Okay. So then I started asking questions in January.
So are there physical rodeo banners like ready now?
Yes. Anybody else?
Where would they go?
They could be put in the comments. They could be put in the gymnasium. They could be put in, let's say, the hallway to the parent.
So I don't want to sound like
it always sounds good up here until we speak it.
So, and not to compare, this is where I'm probably. Are we going to do this with any kid that has a hobby?
I think
for that particular hobby. Please don't take that.
I'm not taking offensive.
I'm calling rodeo a hobby.
That's okay.
But it's not a quote unquote sport that's recognized. So it's going to be deemed, in the eyes of whoever, is no different than chess club or Spanish club. And so are we going to have banners for those kids? And if that's the case, then we just need to put a banner up for every kid in class. And we don't have room. We did it a few years ago down Main Street. And that was fun. And I think I don't have a problem doing that. But this opens the door for, if we're going to do it for this group, well, then we're going to do it for the next group, and why not this group? And then people are going to make up their own groups so they can do this. And I don't think that we should be involved in that.
Okay. I have a couple of ways to answer your question.
Can I ask just a question before you have the survey questions? Can you hear it?
I've got it right here.
Oh, okay.
So basically, it recognizes different sports. That's the first question. USA Swimming. So there's a list that says under club sports. As previously stated, senior banners that are paid for by parents are hung in locations where the activity competes. For example, basketball, the gym, swimming, the pool. Question brought to the student councils whether or not VHS should pursue allowing seniors to place individual activity banners in the main gym, regardless of whether or not they compete in the VHS gym, and regardless of whether or not they have completed or competed or watched a sanctioned activity sponsored by VHS. Do you feel that this is something that we should look into? And that's a yes or no question. Senior banners are currently on display at various locations, gym, stadiums, schools. The Lady Bison and Bisons compete and have VHS seniors wearing VHS black and gold uniforms. Even feel that it's important for students in senior banners to represent VHS by wearing a lady bison or bison uniform, yes or no? Do you feel the club activity, non-WASHA, that are not offered by students by VHS, not a school activity, example, hobby, softball, rodeo, etc., should have an opportunity to be represented at VHS? Yes or no? So those are basically the questions. And then there's an opportunity to add your comments.
Is there a due date?
We're supposed to do those tomorrow during our advisory period.
So they'll be done tomorrow?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm good.
Okay.
So, Madam Chair, I just want to say, I don't know that anybody ever asked you, it sounds like you of do, but, I'm never going to disrespect you. If that is your policy to not hang certain things in the school, I'm okay with that, just so you know.
Right here, Chris's response to Randy. Randy's concerned, I'd like to hear the response. She said I have.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
You're okay. You're okay. So what I was thinking, so we can keep it like it is with banners from the different sports and activities that we currently have. We could add the rodeo banners, we could add some other banners for, let's say, hockey, lacrosse, figure skating. Do these activities, do they have parameters? Do they have like grades that need to be met? Do they have school discipline? Do they have public conduct? Do they have all of those same parameters like what the Wyoming High School Activities Association has? We can put that, or you can put that, not we, you can put that on different parameters as to what banners they have. Okay. The other question that you had was, well, let's just get rid of all banners. Let's put all 70 or 90 graduating high school seniors banners that would be approximately the same size as your vision statement right there with their picture. And we have Bradley's art because she is not artistically, or she is not athletic in any way, shape, or form. Oh my gosh, that child is artistic. Let's go ahead and put Sarah's building on there because she does some fantastic things with her building. We have Jimmy over here who's in basketball and is in football. Let's put him on his banner. Let's put all of his banners on there. And then have a committee that looks at the banners and the design of them, how students design them. They have an Adobe Photoshop class at the high school. They could design their banners and get it approved by a committee. And then we could have every single high school student, their banners up there with their senior graduating picture or whatever picture that is appropriate along with all of their activities and have them blended into one.
And that's an option that I think you're digging into a big giant hole with, as far as letting 17, 18-year-old kids make their own choices. What's going to be on a banner, as far as what they're going to wear, and what's going to be on a T-shirt, what they can't have on a T-shirt. You know, I think that who's going to be on the committee that's going to approve what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. You know, it's big. It's a big mess that I don't think that really we as a board, I think we need to be involved in that. I think it's a school issue because if we get involved, then we've got to make a policy. And I think if we get involved, we make a policy, and then what happens when the junior high kids, they want banners, or the juniors want banners. And I get this is just what I'm looking at is we make this decision here, and then this turns into next week the 8th graders, because they're the seniors at the junior high, they want banners. So we're gonna do those things. I don't know what everybody's decisions are, and I guess we'll get to that. But
Yes, because I have a couple of things. One is, I think there's that distinction of WASA approved or WASA sanctioned. And also the option of everyone else. I think it should be everyone else. If you step into rodeo, I think it ought to be anyone that would like to be involved. With the number of clubs and activities that we have, would it be appropriate or agreeable to have a banner per event, or per group? One banner for rodeo, one banner for Lego robotics. I mean, as you go down, it just in the interest of space, would that be an agreeable option?
I think that's.
And then my other question, or my concern, is if we were to make a policy at board level, you make a policy for one school, for one issue that's come up and is going to affect every school. I won't lie, it's not an issue we have in KC. You get 10 kids, you can hang up all the banners in that gym you want. I'm sure New West is kind of small. But same thing, it may not be an issue or a problem that they're experiencing. So I hate to do a board-wide policy, district-wide policy that then might pigeonhole or hurt other schools too with the hope of helping one. I don't know if that makes sense, but I have reservations about, we all know, the more rules you get into it gets harder.
Christy just talked about senior. So.
Yeah. Well, it would. If if we, right now, our school also does CLASA sanctioned. So if we wanted to bring in every club and activity for seniors, what I'm saying is we have the physical space in the room. We're never gonna have so many seniors that we can't accommodate that many bears, to be honest.
So, my understanding, I don't know anything about these. I'm not there yet, but you as parents pay for these banners, is that correct?
Yes.
So you want to include everyone. Well, not every family financially is going to be able to afford that. That's my biggest concern. Yeah, and that's my biggest concern. There's a lot of people that can, yes, but then you're putting this group in there that says, I can't afford this, and then my kid's left out. And or if you come to these group banners, who's paying for that then? What club will have? There's just a financial part of that's a little concerning to me to get money. And
The group banners, they do them already. And the senior banners, I was told I got it out and to pay $40 for it. I don't know what happens to those kids that don't, but I'm not seeing something that doesn't have a banner up right now. I don't think that's an issue, but I have to go back on Kristen. Explain to me the other schools in, if we were coming up with something.
I guess I just thought every school is so different, unique, both in size and needs, that PC, for example, wouldn't have this problem. Even if you said all clubs and activities, just by the number of seniors we have space for them, we have room for them. I didn't want the policy to cause, or the hypothetical policy to cause problems down the road for other groups that it's a non-issue for, versus EHS where it might be a space issue. That's just not a thing in PC with, say, 10 seniors.
Can I speak for a minute? I'm not against banners. I'm not against kids. It's been said that, if you don't go for the banners, you don't care about that group. Well, just because I may have a disagreement with a student, didn't mean I didn't care about that kid. We did. If that were the case, we would have our lunch periods and nobody ever would be fun. Okay? I think that this whole thing discussion should be held at the school. We're not pitting kids against kids. If we did, we wouldn't have a valedictorian, we wouldn't compete in basketball, we wouldn't have forensics because they compete against each other. Let our schools and our kids handle a problem. That's all I'm saying.
Madam Chair, thank you. I have thought about this situation a lot. And when you came to our last session, I listened
with Chris. First of all, I want everyone to know that I was elected to the school board to do what's right for kids. And I firmly believe that I myself, in every decision that I make on my own, and I am one vote of 9, in my heart of hearts, I'm making the best decisions for what I think is best for kids. I am a firm believer that education and activities grow children. I agree with you that some kids wouldn't go to school if there wasn't an activity that they were involved with. I have zero dispute with that. My issue is, long ago, I took the class called Love and Logic. And it was something that raising kids isn't easy. And there's facets of things that will come in your life with raising kids that you may see coming and you may not see coming. And Love and Logic, as a parent, I learned that we're to guide and direct our children. We're their sole support. We're they're our sole purpose as our children. I feel that this whole situation that we're in, we at the last meeting, we told you that we would put it on the kids and that we would see what the kids wanted to come up with. They're young adults. As seniors, they are getting ready to go out into the world and be adults, okay? And being an adult doesn't mean the decisions that they are going to make are always going to be easy. And me as an adult, every decision that I make hasn't always been easy. In fact, a lot of decisions that I make are hard. And I wonder, am I doing the right thing? So I'm going to go back to my education through Love and Logic, okay? And I'm just going to, because I have an 8-year-old, I'm going to put it in an 8-year-old level because this is my world, okay? My daughter has a friend over and there is one boy between them or one, whatever it is. And they are arguing and fighting, and between the two of them, they can't come to a decision. I feel that through building administration, through our AD, through our superintendent, that this situation has now escalated to us. And I am trying to make the best informed decision on this situation that I possibly can. And I feel through all of these complications, and I understand that WASA has their own rules. Johnson County School District has their own rules. Traveling teams, rodeo, hockey, softball. I don't know what all those activities, I don't know what their parameters are. I do know rodeo because you explained to us what the parameters are, but the rest of them I don't know. But we have kids in all activities. And so in my opinion, to support all kids is, I love the idea of the banners, but this has blown up to something that I feel has been completely unnecessary and has pitted our children. And we are the adults, we're the guides, we're the protectors. And I feel like we're not doing that for our kids. And I hate to say this, but I am in favor of no banners in school. I would be in favor of a class picture of every student that wants to be in that class picture, regardless of their activity, regardless of their club, regardless of whatever. I'm in favor of a class picture, and that would go for Buffalo High School, KC High School, and New West Alternative School. Let's honor our children that way. And that's just how I feel. Thank you.
I think the way, and I have multiple banners at home, I never really realized how they got here. I didn't know that we made you know, I think that the basics of my views of the banners were always just recognizing those seniors while you're there at the game. So, it goes back to, if that's not kind of what we're doing with the banners, then we need to do them forever. So, I think yearbooks are kind of what has always been something that has organized individual groups for everybody. But to me, the banners were always something to be hung at the activity. So, and they were fairly large, so you could actually see them from the stands, from everywhere. That's the way that I always interpret that. And they didn't go anywhere. They were taken down and then they were put back up every week. So I don't get the connection between wanting to put them up at the commons or the gym or anywhere else. When it's not during that activity. That's just kind of what it is.
Do you have anything more that you'd like to say, ask?
The connection, Mr. Brown, is for all kids to see what the other kids are doing. Because they might not know that, like, Maddie wears a sweatshirt and jeans to school every day. Her classmates have no idea what she does.
Well, then unless somebody goes to a basketball, they don't know that Susie plays basketball, or unless they went to the football, they didn't know that they played football.
Or cheer, or dance.
So I get it. I'm not disparaging the rodeo.
It sounds like there's a bunch of olders and not. You just want to do it the right way.
Madam Chair, one last
You
comment.
bet.
Thank goodness for the Buffalo Board. And because, like for me, I don't go watch kids swim, and so I don't know who's in the swim deal, but thank God the Bulletin does put that in there. And I don't care if it's choir, band, whatever it is. Thank goodness the Bulletin does put that stuff in there. And so I know Ryan or Zach didn't here tonight, but I just want to say thank you to the Bulletin for advertising what each group is and who's in it. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
We do have it as an action item, whether we have an action will remain to be seen, but that will be later on.
I guess thank you guys for letting me speak and for letting
Chris, like I said at the beginning, I think that we're doing it the right way, and that's doing it the polite way, respectfully. And I appreciate that. Okay, here we go. Do we have any additions to the agenda? So may I have a motion to accept the agenda as presented? We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, the agenda has been set. We will now enter to general reports. Mr. Roski, I will turn, no, let's do the JCSD 1 video right now. Thank you. Yeah. 100 days already.
Oh, it's way past.
Oh.
It's a great reminder. All right, principal's report. Mr. Oskey, you're up.
All right, so our spotlight tonight is Cloud Peak Elementary. So let's start out with them.
All right. So, Dr. Miller, if you'll get this rolling, that'd be awesome. Click right there where it says Jeb and Roy in blue. Make it
Oh, Jesus.
Whoa! Whoa! This is freaked out, Roy. Look at the beat this place. Bang. Wow. Look at the beat here. Woo, blue sky. What is it? Who's all them people in there, Kim? I don't know. Wonder if Mr. Hinton and Miss Ferris is in those people. Mr. Hinton, Mr. Ferris, you in there still with all them people?
Hey, Jim and Roy. What? Good to see you, boys.
Oh, there you are. What are you doing there? Where are you at right now?
The Johnson County School Board meeting, Roy.
Is it still cold there? Cloud Peak Elementary, when we left, it was terrible. You boys are really missing out here.
We are missing out, and it's still cold, Roy.
We're loving it here on the beach. You know, the horses, nice soft thing on their feet. Here's a pretty place. And we're not back there.
Hey, would you guys be willing to tell them about Tales of the Dusty Riders?
Do that? Okay, that'd be fine.
Thank you.
Yep. Here, why don't you tell them folks here now, Ruth, what is we do with Tales of the Dusty Riders? Well, pretty simple. We want to make sure the PBIS system, or the Positive Behavior Intervention System, is incorporated in the whole school. All the teachers, the students, all the other staff are there, cooks, custodians, everybody who's involved, we want them to be involved with knowing and building one another up. That's what we do. That's what we do. We go through the 8 keys of excellence, we talk about ownership, failure needs to success. We do it by talking about bullying and how we need to be upstanders, stand up for those people who are being voted by somebody else. We gotta talk about how we're bringing community together with Red Kettle Challenge, and we got Food Pantry Challenge coming up. We're just doing announcements and videos and everything coming together. Everybody seems to laugh and have fun. We're working on being constructive, so working on the things we're not so good at. Like lunchroom behavior and playground behavior, those types of things. So we got all kinds of stuff going. We've got a set called letters. How many letters we received? Man, we got letters Kevin Rock. Thought about that. There's 100 letters have been written to us by students answering our questions about all the things we questioned. Two crazy breaks we got. That's like for every 2 kids, at least one of them wrote us a letter. I know, you guys say them all. That is cool. It is super cool. That's about it. Well, we can show them this highlight video. Oh, yeah, we got a highlight video. You guys okay with that? Folks here in the room, can we show a hot video? Sure. Let's do it. Let's go. Okay. Here we go. Hey, little Dusty Rider. Jim and Roy, that's a great highlight video. Brown sugar, how's your diet? Yeah, that's a good question. I know in the video you saw brown sugar got a stomach problem. Well, here's the dealio. You've been running around on the beach out here eating things that unbeknownst to me, and the stomach is rumbling right now. Yeah, I don't like it. Little gap in here is not like at home, anything. Not too well, no doubt. Hey, you guys got some plans for the future? We got a lot going on. Oh, yeah. We do. Well, we have a kid writer things. We want some new segment ideas. We got a guest director coming in. Jacob Betts is going to direct the video with us, so he's pretty excited. So about zombies and cheese and explosions or something. I don't know. We've got something kind of in mind. That's cool. And we spoke about earlier about the food pantry. Well, the goal is that all the grade levels are gonna have competition to raise food for the food pantry. It's gonna be awesome. So challenge them up at the grade level, and then, that'll keep doing good for the community. And then some gentleman by the name of Dr. Miller, something like that, he approached us, and he said, Billy Roy, could you do something for the whole district? And Billy got a little nervous, but we kind of excited about that, too. We're not sure what he wanted, but we're trying to find him, so, he came out there, he might put in the word for it. Yeah, I think that's about it. We're just keeping on. That's all we like to do around here. We're gonna go ahead and, hit the beach and, do a little swimming and let the horses play in the sand and eat weird things, and sugar. But if, you out there in the audience got questions, sure shoot them to Miss Ben. Mr. Ferris and Shirley can help you out. Yeah, they can answer. They know well. And as always, this is Roy and Jim. Building the right. Peace out.
That's my spot.
Thank you to the dim spotlight.
Other folks. So, if there's any other questions, I'd have to.
If you ever get a chance to see Mr. Ferris' graph of long division, we need to post that sometime.
We we have another one this year. We for our dojo for geometry. It's coming up.
They're really
I'm the
good.
sensei.
Oh, for the long division, he goes through every step, and I mean, I even know those steps. Thank you, that was awesome.
How you guys supper? Breakfast?
All right, any other questions from the board or their other admin team that's here tonight? All right, so I'll move on to my report. Any questions for me as the superintendent with my report?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Charles, I do have a question for you, and it's not an I got you question. It's a chance for you hopefully to be able to answer the community. So we as a district got put into the high risk financial category along with the property and casualty. Can you explain that to us?
Absolutely. So I know you as a board of trustees had called one Department of Ed in question about that. So I do have some information here. Trina Carroll called me and said you as a board had concerns with what I posted. So I'm gonna push this way.
I don't know that we called the Wyoming Department of Ed. Or did I miss that?
No.
Well, Trina Carroll from the Wyoming Department of Ed.
I called.
Okay.
So as a board
On
member,
behalf of the board?
No,
you
on
represent
behalf
the
of
board.
myself.
So, but anyway, I can answer that question. So with that, we're a high financial district according to our audit findings, which was presented there. There's a couple documents that are kind of going around. So one of the sections that was, what do I want to say, was part of where we are for 3 years due to some of our audit findings. We are a high financial district, auditing district. And then the other part that for insurance reasons, we have a $10 million lawsuit. We have roofs in our districts. All roofs are going out of warranty this year. So that's a liability. We have $20 million in facilities projects that we have to work on. There's just a lot of liability within the district and maintaining of our buildings. So when I say we're kind of high risk when it comes to insurance, we do have some liabilities that are presented in front of us. Doesn't mean that we cannot physically take on those challenges, but it's me trying to be transparent to the staff and to you as a board of trustees. But the high risk financial audit was what was presented to you as a board of trustees during your audit findings. Okay.
I think I even asked the question to the auditors.
So Jan, you did ask that question to the auditors the day the audit was presented.
So Charles, do you have to write a plan or anything to the state as to how to get out of it?
So part of our corrective action plan, part of what our auditors have found, yes, that's what we're working on as a district with our procurement policies, all the training and everything that's coming up with that piece. What we're doing, part of that finding was our, to be transparent, was the bonuses that were given what that looks like, how we purchase some equipment with federal funds. So some of those things we are trying to and have been working on to rewrite policy and procedures. Also, electronic speak to some of those other things that we are doing. But we do have to submit our corrective action plan. My first year here, as a reminder to the board, we had a state federal audit, which found us to have a lot of issues. So part of that corrective action plan, which is kind of parallels to the other stuff that we're doing, does require us to put
When you called Dave, do you think something? I mean, what did you?
Well, as what he told me, Charles, was that you automatically go into an audit if you've received $750,000 for the federal money, which we have. So he said that automatically sets an audit off, and then that you do have to write a corrective action plan. They'll probably audit you for 2 years. And yeah, so Kristen, for me that is a big deal for me. And so why should I call as a board member?
I guess I'm confused on if you called it digitally for you or
I
on
didn't
behalf
call as
of
a
the
board. No, I didn't call on behalf.
Because I made a statement once on behalf of the board and the hammer came down on me.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, I call on behalf of myself.
So you didn't say JCSD 140?
I did say I was. Absolutely.
I guess I just don't think any of this is news to us because of our audit, because of the federal investigation. We didn't think we were in a good place.
Did you know that you were considered a high-risk financial district?
Yeah,
I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't.
and I would hope we would be after a federal investigation. I mean, I think that that's appropriate measures for what we went through, and I'm glad that they are. I'm glad we are high risk. I think that's an appropriate reaction to the situation.
And part of the problem is when you have your property insurance high risk, Charles, will that increase our rates?
There is a potential of increasing our rates with where we're at. So the insurance company, I think we brought this to you several months ago. The insurance company also came in and did their own kind of walkthrough with buildings. I don't know what John's at, but that was, they did one building, which are going to doing some multiple pieces. We shared that findings from our facility people with that piece. But and I get it. Insurance is going to cover anything that's there, but if there's a liability that we're not working on, we need to start moving towards fixing some of those things. We have quite a few findings in relation to access to buildings with handicap and some of those things that need to be addressed. So there are a lot of things that we as a district can start addressing, which is a liability to our district facilities. So again, those insurance pieces, some of those other liabilities are just being honest to some of the lawsuits, the potential of a federal investigation where, you know what, I hope it doesn't go that way, but let's be real. We could be giving back $1.7 million. We could lose access to $750,000 every year. So what we have been trying to do over the last 5-6 months, which has consumed a lot of our time, is putting the procedures and protocols in place, trying to remanage our budget. That's why we're adopting a whole new financial system and training as we kind of move forward with that. But I can't even give you the perfect answer right now because we are in midstream. We are, I will say, this is not under my leadership. This is something that I came into and we are trying to fix. And the light might be very slim at the end of the tunnel, but I feel we're headed in the right direction. You as a board of trustees trusted me enough to approve a $1.3 million deficit in revenues, knowing that we have carryover. So that takes us into that's a lot of work to try to find that balanced budget without, honestly, implementing a reduction in staff. I don't want to do that at this point in time. I want to be able to say we're going to be able to support our teachers, support this community, and provide the services and programs that we need to. We also know that we're well over budget with activities and some of those other things. We also know that we're going into the first year back, and I think food service has done a great job with that, but this is the first year back that we haven't been reimbursed for food service. And food service is not in our funding model. So balancing what those things are looking like as we move forward. special ed, we've had a high influx of high needs kids. There's been a cost of that. We've transferred, close to $400,000 into a reimbursable model that we're going to see a side impact with that in the upcoming years. And there's some special ed law tied to that. But we are trying, I would say, the team here and the teachers here are doing what's best for kids. But I'm going to look at you as a board of trustees and say, we're not there yet. The journey's only begun. I honestly can't even say tonight that I'm 100% sure. You have a procurement policy in front of you. You know, as a board of trustees, that we've had 3 basically legal teams look at that procurement policy over the last, sorry, Bridget, how long have you been on? So it's been,
like forever.
it feels like forever. But this procurement policy is going to set grounds for this district in the future to come, and we've got to follow that. And the trainings that we brought in, so we are, everything that we've done with our administrators, what we're doing to try and get staff evaluations or a book model in place. There are lots of things that I feel are doing in the right direction. It's just taking time.
So thanks for answering that to the stakeholders.
Anybody
Other
else?
questions?
No. Anybody else?
So I would like to emphasize a celebration in there. If you look, we received formal information that we're accredited. That might not be a big deal to a lot of you, but it is a huge deal to me. Staying accredited as a school district, knowing all the work behind the scenes, to be accredited. But it raises a level of anxiety, to be honest, to all the stakeholders and everybody on the video here tonight. We get accredited in the fall of 2023. Everything that we put on the board and what we put in that document, they're coming on site to see the rubber hits the road. We have some challenges. We have some things that we're working on, but I would like to take little baby step celebrations. And the fact is, we did get accredited for this year. But Dr. Miller, honestly, the anxiety's up. We have, I thought we had a year. If I count the months out, we don't have very many months to get that documentation together. So we are moving forward to get ready for accreditation, on-site accreditation. But celebrate the short victories, and that was a good one. So.
Moving on, direct reports.
All right, so who's first?
I have some.
Mr. Zink.
Any questions on my report?
You were mentioning before that we just found out today.
Oh, the TKE elevator for Buffalo High School. Major maintenance, we got acceptance from the state for major maintenance paid for that project. For the elevator. There's gonna be more costs. I have a feeling it's gonna come with it. We're gonna have to probably build a room, which I've been in communication with Gibb, and we'll look at some options up there to house the equipment. The equipment currently is under the car in the pit. We have to take every weight out of the weight room, put in the car, manually chain hoist the car up to get underneath it to say, yep, it's dead. The dollar amount is a lot, but it was a $48,000 fix as a Band-Aid for a new drive that they would have to build. And I said, that's not acceptable. We need a new car. We've needed one since building. The hoistway, the counterweight, the car will stay. It'll have all new electronics in it, new life safety, new controllers. The problem of a kid or adult hitting the button and the magnet falling out, that's got to work. That all go away. So this will be a better. Right now we're out of compliance.
It won't be any bigger.
No.
It can't be.
It can't be. That hoistway is built for that car. When they design a building, they submit the plan of an elevator and they build the hoistway to that. It's a CMU with a concrete foundation, with a thickened slab, to hold the weight. It has to work in that car. So, and that's why there's an action item for the proposal for the dollar amount per policy.
So John or Ms. Roski, how do the ADA kids, you said that the work session that those, it's been out of service for a couple months. Now, how do the ADA kids get from upstairs to downstairs right now?
So the great news is we haven't had kids. Very short period of time, we had a couple of kids who couldn't reach the stairs. We housed them downstairs, teachers came down, took care of them.
Parent teacher conference, I was there, individual was right in front of me. He has walking sticks. You know, I felt like crap being a silly guy, there's nothing I could do. He had made a point to go find the teachers, see if they're available to come in. Just make an accommodation. That's all we can do at this point. We can get people down below the building to get in gym access, but getting them up, we just have to be creative with that. Bring the staff down, wherever we can.
So like for graduation stuff, we'll try to.
Upper or lower. And once we move forward with this, we sign. I mean, I still have meetings to have with these people where we're gonna house the equipment. 24 weeks roughly to build, to start to build, or to, you know, they're telling me 24 weeks to have it built.
They will be working in school for that long, or they?
No, that'll be before the equipment is built and brought to site. Then it could be additional month. Beyond that. We are at 50% capacity. So we could make it.
Anything else?
And just with the elevator, I do have final numbers. For the AHU, I told you I was working on contract for that. Contract with the Davis Bacon and the deducts. That project was about 3,000 total, $763,430. No, it's KC boilers with 3 projects this summer with the elevator. We're looking at $1,272,000 in facilities, amongst everything else going on.
Is that covered through major maintenance?
Yes, that's major maintenance and ESSER, 5,000 IBS.
Anybody else?
So just so you know, you just heard that summer project, so summer school is gonna be housed at Craig's building. So all summer school, I'm gonna say Buffalo summer school, not KC.
For K5.
Will be K5.
K5.
Unless you want K5, but right now it's K5.
Please. Not the middle schoolers.
Anything else, Mr. Zink, you'd like to present to the board?
Nope, we've been moving snow. Now we just need to move water.
Thanks for getting us through the winter.
Okay, nutrition services. Questions for me?
Thank you.
Technology, Christie, any questions for Christie?
Madam Chair. Christie, the 200 Chromebooks that you put in place, we're gonna go on an action item. We have 75 more. Is that in addition to the 200?
Yes, the 75 ordered earlier.
Okay.
Well, we need about 300 every year to cover our rotation.
Thank you.
And transportation.
So he is super excited. He would like to present, so.
You have a video too?
No.
You're even in the spotlight.
So does anybody have any questions on
You have a lot going on. Thank you.
we have a lot going on, but we are handling at this point, and that's to be commended for our lack of staff, their virtue and their patience. We really appreciate the flexibility that we're seeing from our directors in our school and our administration, as well as our coaches and our community. But in the end, we're dedicated to safe student transportation, and we feel that we're accomplishing at this point. And if anybody knows of anybody that would like to drive a school bus, come see me. Happy to let you know a little bit about our culture and some of the things that we're changing and moving forward.
Thank you for getting all our drivers, thank you for getting all of our kids regionals, both KC, Buffalo, regional
Yes, our
state.
team needs to be committed there.
There's a lot of travel.
Wonderful job with that. So everybody's going above and beyond. Really appreciate that.
Thank you to all your staff for all of the accommodations over the last 2 weeks. I mean, it's been, I know you've had activities and field trips and bus turnarounds, and I am very grateful for you and all of your people up there. It's been a busy.
They're truly thinking outside the box.
Yes.
It's things that we haven't done in the past, but moving forward, we're seeing we've got a lot of opportunities to collaborate. That was a big word that I used in my report. We're able to use some outside entities. I mean, have some thermal drivers that might be coming on to help us because they have some extra hours and some things like that. So we're super excited. We're running KC drives up in Buffalo. We're running Buffalo drivers in KC just to cover all those needs. And everybody's been super fun.
Well, you've been baptized by fire. You're still here, and we expect to see you next month. Thank you. Ms. Roskin,
All right, curriculum and learning.
another anything you'd just like to highlight quickly?
No, just besides the 2 action items that on
Okay. And these are just the resources. I won't go through it again. We've already done the curriculum and voted on it. Okay.
just the resources.
Thank you.
All right, special services.
Now you're always good about highlighting something, so
I'm thankful for the professional development that has been happening. I've asked each, as they return from each of the conferences and the classes they've been speaking, if they give a little highlight to get a PowerPoint. Next week is putting together a little video for you. But they appreciate it. We all appreciate it because we've all learned from the things that they've learned while they're away. We're getting ready to take that group to LRP, which it's my favorite time of the year. And so I'm excited to share that wealth of knowledge as well. And then we did get a letter from the state. We had been asked earlier in the year to make a few little changes to our transition stuff as students become students to adulthood. And so we worked together as a team to address those quickly and efficiently. And we wrote us a letter to let them know that they re-looked at all of our stuff and gave us 100% compliance. I'm excited about that.
okay. Video PowerPoint. Come on. It's good. It's kind of sad. But it's good.
And I agree. I would just like to you have anybody that is interested in being a para in our building, we have a couple of positions open, so send them my way.
Any questions? All right, moving on.
We're starting to compete among programs to recruit employees, just so everybody knows.
Who has the best snacks?
All right, let's report.
Hi guys, you need to disregard the graphs like this stuff. I needed some Advil at the time I was doing it, but it looks like I was on track, but it's not. I've given you on your stack of stuff. I've given you a sheet that kind of looks like this, and I put those percentages on there, so a percentage that we spent. So I apologize for that. We also added salaries and benefits to your board report, on the vouchers and warrants list. And then I also made and printed a copy of the bank balances. So those are new for on the bottom end. So we added bank balances. So we're giving that to you each month along with the salaries. This time the salaries is July through February. Next month it will be March.
Any questions? I would like to thank Leslie. She already done that. If you ever have any questions, you get home tonight, tomorrow, and you want to call Leslie because you saw a warrant you didn't understand, please call her. She'll answer your question at any time, and I appreciate I had several questions in the last 2 months, so I thank you for doing this.
So kind of, can you kind of give an update to everyone here tonight, stakeholders, where we are with the transition to our new software?
So we're about to get in heavy, fast, and furious. We've got almost 2 trainings a day between now and the end of the month. We go live April 1st. We are nervous, but we think that it's going to be a really good transition. We just got back from Brahman and Leslie and I went to Teton to see the actual software and live and how they use it, and we were excited about what we learned. We also learned that we were doing some things that they're not doing that we feel like we'll keep doing that. It's better than what they're doing. So they still have a lot of paper, and we pretty much got the list on our invoices and our AP side of it. So we're excited. We just asked for grace. We're going to be asking all the administrators tomorrow for grace and to have all the requisitions in by March 31st, because there's probably not going to be any requisitions between the 1st of April and the April 15th that they can do. So we're having training on the 20th. Some of the admin assistants are going to be able to make that. And then once we get that, we feel like we have it a little bit under control, then we'll have some trainings with them without Skyward there. We'll just be doing the training. So we're excited about that. So it's going to be an interesting couple of months.
So in the celebration, and just to emphasize, all our departments are doing an amazing job, but I really want to emphasize the business department. Their transition into this new software and still maintaining the district, or as sometimes saying, we're flying an airplane and rebuilding it. We're flying a jet airplane. We are building it. And with that process, they had how many trainings? I mean, it's a sheet. Numerous trainings. We have found there's over 1,100 accounting codes that we are taking out of the system, that we are cleaning up the system. So in that process, when you say grace, there's you're taking a leap of faith. These ladies have not only learned to cross-train to know each other's positions, but the training and the fact is we're implementing something new just for them, and then we push it out to every building, and then we push it out after we make mistakes, we'll push it out again. But the reality is we're going to have a system in place that's going to grow over the next couple of years and really be able to come to you as a board of trustees with where and how we spend money so we can really align our budget. So anyway, I'm excited about it. But I don't want to make a promise that it's going to be 100% perfect, because we know anytime you implement something new, there will probably be something. But they are doing their darndest to make sure that everything kicks off April 1st like it should. So a lot of hours. So thank you to your team.
Any other questions for Connie? Thank you, Connie. Rec board.
Well, we canceled our snow day.
Okay. Did you go to sleep? No. BOCES are, they've had a special meeting. I'm sorry I missed. I was at the school state. There is things coming down the pipeline. There will be some changes. They've had some changes at the higher level admin that is coming about, and I hope these changes will be good for our getting maybe the bills to us on time instead of putting, I think you saw on the warrants, there's a bill at $85,000. That's like 6 months, Connie, at least 6, maybe 7 months that we have not seen the invoice from them. Put it all in one. So hopefully the changes will bring about better bookkeeping for us as well, better payment instead of having, $85,000 all at once. BOCES.
We have not had a meeting, so nothing to report.
Thank you. We're into leadership governance 2.8, and it's on community relations, and I think it's good for this month. Yeah. as you read through it as a board, you know, we're always looking for better ways, better communicators, and establish better relationships. And I think that's something we can always work towards. It. Can you help me out a little bit? What do you guys think when you look at that?
I know you and Lynette had mentioned after some trainings one time having folks out in the audience evaluate or grade us. And I'd like to revisit that.
Okay.
I think that was a good idea.
Because sometimes people will see something that we don't see. And we could be doing a better job of it. I agree with that. So we will put that down as one of the things that we really want to work on. I think Mr. Oski, sometimes he is absolutely overwhelmed, but he always makes time, I think, with teachers and our patrons and our board. If you pick up the phone, he will either call you back or he will talk to you right then. I've never heard him say, I can't get back to you. Maybe it's been different for you guys, but he makes a conservative effort. And again, he's always looking for ways to improve on that. So if you have any ways that you think he can improve on his relationships with our community, please step up and let him know.
So Jen, on top of that, so we had our DAC meeting this last week, had a lot of meetings last week, but our district advisory committee that supposed to be with our patrons kind of show where we're at as a district. We did it at the library. Those of you who were able to attend, those that couldn't, we created our own little special video, which is not even close to what powerful presentation the district team did that day. And I'm gonna say we're gonna grow that. We're gonna go to the auditorium next year. We're gonna invite the entire community, not just key stakeholders, and we want to present that to the entire community. So I want to say kudos to everybody that presented that day. John is actually, as a facilities guy, maybe question about being on that, but no. What you've seen this team put together from the first year to this year with delegation of federal grants and how everybody presented and talked to that, I'm excited to grow that, but we need to expand it. And I'd like to expand it to the entire community, maybe at the
I don't want to.
Madam Chair. Charles, I was going to speak to that meeting. I was there at the DAC meeting when it came, when we got to from the board, but since Charles mentioned it, I'll go ahead. I would like to, it was a great presentation. It was immediately shot out the next morning so that anybody could see it. I liked the idea that we have several people, administrators, eyes on lots of different things. Craig and Lori teamed up. Dr. Miller was a team. There was lots of people, eyes on different things. Because we do represent the public as board members. And we do speak on your behalf, and we do make decisions on your behalf. And so I just want to say thank you for the transparency of that meeting. It was great to see we had community members from the preschools here in town. We had a county commissioner there. We had representation in lots of areas in town. And I personally would like to see it grow just because we are doing good things. We are moving forward. Some decisions are harder than others. And I feel like we have a great leader that's worked really hard to make a super responsible district, not only for our children, but fiscally responsible. And I feel that all team members worked together really well, and it was a really wonderful process to see that there's lots of eyes and lots of people that know different things that are going on with funding in our district. That made me feel really comfortable. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, let's move on to the consent agenda. We have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Seconded.
Discussion?
Yeah, I think I'd like to give a shout out to Lou Ann Walter. She's retiring from the district. She has been there for a long time, wonderful lady, and so thank you, Lou Ann.
How many, do you know?
20 plus.
Plus,
All the time.
has she always been a special ed?
Yes.
That's not a new job. She will be missed. Thank you. Dave, for doing that. Any other? All those in favor of accepting the consent agenda as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. So moved. At this time, from the board, anything other business from the board at this time?
Jim,
Mhm.
I would, because we talked about the swimmers a little bit, but I want to give kudos to Mr. Miller. I don't know how many of you know him, Mike Miller, but he came to this district, and it's probably been 5 or 6 years ago. He started out with 4 swimmers, and that program was all boy swimmers, and that program was all to get them close, ready to fail. He's built that program up. He now has 17 boys that swim in the high school program. When they went to state, if they would have swam with 4A, they would have probably placed third. Not probably, they would have placed third behind Lander and Laramie. And they only missed Laramie by 1 point. He has 75 kids in the USA swimming program now, which is not all of I can handle. And so I just like to say, I want to give kudos to Mr. Miller.
Now, did you say middle school swim program?
It's at USA.
USA.
I thought he did middle school.
He does have kids that swim in the middle school, and he also invites them to come swim with the high school kids. So yeah,
Okay.
vertical integration where what he teaches you at the middle school goes all the way through the high school.
Mr. Miller is a phenomenal swim
Yes,
coach.
absolutely.
He's not only great old kids and good kids. If you ever go over to Gillette and look at their state champions, most of those are kids. So yes, I'd like to say we just got through our winter season, and the winter season can be brutal. Not just because of the weather, because it's so dang long. And Mr. Farwell, his last season, they had a good state tournament. I'm very proud of how the kids did. And all of our coaches, boys basketball, girls basketball, wrestling. I don't want to leave anybody out.
Indoor track.
Indoor track, thank you. They all had a great season. We got there safe, we got home safe, and the kids performed.
A lot of celebrations.
Yes. So thank you. Anything else from the board? Board eval discussion, Mr. Ostrowski?
Perfect. So Sue said she's willing to come work with you as a board, so I need a date and start working with the coach if that's something that you as a board of trustees would like to do. With that, I'll probably have Heidi or somebody send out some calendar options.
Okay.
That we can look at that, but just want to make sure you as a board are still wanting Sue to come do some work with you with board evaluations. Yes. Okay. All right, we will move forward with establishing some dates and working with her schedule, and get her down to do some work with the board of trustees.
Great.
So with the next April work session, like always, we'll start setting that agenda for you, the chairman of the board, Jan. And then just as a reminder, our April board meeting will be in KC.
What time does the bus leave? 5 o'clock? If you're not going to ride the bus, would you please let Heidi know? The work session, of course, will be on April 5th, beginning at 5:15. The board meeting, which we're looking forward to. Mr. Evans having the middle school band play the national anthem for us. That'll be awesome. We'll be in KC April 10th. In the bus will be 5 o'clock.
Is Jake playing this against you?
No, you're not going to have to watch it.
Good.
Okay.
All right. So with that, so I sent a calendar invite just as a reminder to the board, summer retreat with all 4 districts has been tentatively set. I do not know the location or the actual time, but as we get closer, I will update that calendar to present it to you. So I just wanted you to be aware. I did send you the date. And then craft consulting study, I directed Gibb to establish a committee at Buffalo High School to start looking at. We do, or I would like to have at least 2 board members sit on that committee. So with that discussion here tonight, I would like to see who would like to volunteer to be a part of that committee. And go from there. I know some of you sat on the committee before, kind of the master schedule, but we do need to start moving forward with that through the direction that I've given. Anybody interested?
Notice nobody that has experience jumped on that one, so I will in 15 minutes.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I would, I'll be on it too.
Great. That's awesome. Thank you.
So you've got their names?
Thank
Okay, so we need an alternate. Let's talk about, there we go. There's our alternate. All right,
Anything
thank
else?
you.
Thank you for stepping up to do that. Appreciate it. It's another committee. It's an important committee.
So it's not trimester, it's a, I can sit down and talk to you.
Alrighty. We have motion to enter into executive session for personnel, student, and legal, according to Wyoming statute 16-4-405. Second, please. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. We will come back and we have a whole list of action items.
Still taking my stuff.
There's someone left.
Do you have an evidence? Do you have an evidence?
Why would you do I'm sorry.
They're pretty straightforward.